People coming in from the waiting room here. Welcome to our first I Love Yarn Day class with me and Darren from Lion Brand. We're going to be showing you how to make a crochet heart pillow. Darren's got it there on screen. I'm going to be hanging out in the chat, answering questions there, and I'll pop the patterns in as well. You'll also be able to get an SVG file, which if you're a paper crafter, you could use in your Cricut, sorry, I pronounced that wrong, Cricut and Silhouette cutting machines, as well as others. And Darren's going to take it away now and tell you all about this cute pillow.
All right, so today we're going to learn how, it's very easy, so I'm just going to review the pattern with you. We have 45 minutes, and if we want to go ahead and switch the camera over to the overhead view, I'll start doing some demonstrations. Okay, so today I'm going to be using this hook. It's a 9mm hook. And I'm using this yarn Hometown Bonus Bundle by Lion Brand. And this is available on lionbrand.com, also on michaels.com. So pretty much any super bulky yarn will do. This one, you do need 2 balls of this to make this pillow. It's kind of a big pillow.
Hey,
nice
Darren.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak up or move the microphone closer to you?
Okay. Is that any better?
There we go.
All right, so here's the pattern. And it lists the gauge and all of the materials needed. So we're going to start here where we're working on the front of the pillow. The front and the back are both made exactly the same. So you'll do the same process twice to make the front and the back. So starting, we're going to chain 2 to start the pillow. So start with a slip knot. Pop that on your crochet hook. And we're going to chain 2. So I guess does everyone know how to chain? Any questions there? And then we're going to work 2 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So one thing you want to remember is you never count this loop that's on your hook. So there's the first chain from the hook right there. We're going to go in the second chain. And
Sorry, Darren, we're still having some sound issues. I think it's when you turn your head to look at what you're working on.
Okay.
Whee!
My camera's moved. I moved everything. All right. Okay, so get back here where I was. So there's the loop on my hook. We don't count that one. There's the first chain from the hook. Go into the second chain from the hook.
Darren, can you just speak louder?
Okay.
Entertainment, including ad-free music channels dedicated to every
Okay, so bring up a loop.
And even the artists themselves. You can also get a front row.
Bring up a loop here. One more single crochet. So you bring up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook.
Snooze from every angle.
Yarn over and bring that through both. So then what you're going to end up with are 2 single crochets. And then you do 1 chain to chain up and then turn your work. And so then the next step is 2 single crochets in each of the 2 stitches. And then you're going to double and have 4. So that's 1 single crochet. You're there, sorry. And then we're going
Molly,
to do the same hole.
excuse me, Darren, we're still having problems hearing you. Molly, do you think we should try his other mic?
Sure.
So Darren,
Okay.
if you could try the mic, I don't know which mic you're using now, but if you could try the other mic and then mute the yes, and just make sure it's turned down all the way. Okay, let's try it now.
Is that better?
Oh, turn down the volume on the one on your phone, please. All the way down, and then that should be better.
Okay, is that better?
See, that's what happens when we do it that way. It always happens.
Okay. All right, then if you'll switch.
All right, how's that?
Sounds good.
No, I can't hear you. Yeah. How's that?
Good on my side.
All right, so see if it works now.
It's gonna continue to give reverb.
Sorry.
It would probably be better to switch back to the other one.
Okay, I'll just try to talk really loud. See if I can do that. Okay, so I did 2 single crochet in the first one, and then I'll do 2 single crochet in the second one. So bring up a loop, yarn over, bring it through both, and I'm going to go through the same spot, yarn over, bring up a loop, sorry, and then yarn over and bring it through both. And at this point, you should have 4 single crochets, chain up, and then turn your work. And at this point, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first one. So you enter the stitch, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, pull it through both, enter in the same place, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, and then pull it through both. Okay, and then 1 single crochet across until we get to the last one. And then at the last one, we're also going to do 2. We're going to do an increase. It's 1 single stitch increase. We're going to take 1 stitch, turn it into 2 stitches, and that's what's going to create the point of our heart. So go through the same one, bring up a loop, yarn over, and pull it through both. And then we're going to chain to create our side height for that stitch, and then turn our work. So I hope you guys can hear me all right. Do you have any questions about anything I've covered so far, or do you want me to go back and repeat anything since the sound wasn't good? I'd be happy to cover it again. How are we doing? Any questions, Claire?
I think probably show that increase again.
Okay. So this is what it should look like. You can see it's starting to look like a triangle shape because we're increasing on each edge of our stitch. So this is our first stitch right here. I'm going to make 2 stitches in that 1 stitch to create an extra stitch. So we're increasing by 1 on each side. So we go through there, enter the stitch. You can see I'm going under both legs of that loop. Wrap your yarn, bring up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook. Wrap your yarn and bring it through both. So that's 1. Now we're going to do the same thing in that same stitch. So you enter the stitch, wrap the yarn, bring the yarn through. So for the single crochet, you'll wrap the yarn one more time. Now I have 2 loops on my hook, and I bring that through both. And then I work across, doing just 1, and each stitch across careful not to split your yarn. So just 1 in each one until you get to the last one, and then I'm going to do 2 stitches in that last one again. So I actually didn't, I should have done it there. So any questions about how to do that increase? Okay, we good on that?
I think we're good on that. We did have a question, let me find it, from Michelle, who asked, instead of going both stitches to the same space, could you put 1 stitch into the front loop and 1 stitch into the back loop?
Well, you could, but it's going to change the texture of it. When you work into the front loop, into the back loop, it does create a bit of a bar or a ridge. So if you, let's show you here, if you go in here into the back loop, what's going to happen is you're going to have this part of the loop is going to show up as a ridge. And then if I go in here, sorry, it might change the texture of that a little bit, but you're going to end up hiding that in the seam. So if you wanted to do it that way, I think you can. I'm all for doing things different ways. So try it and see how you like it. It's a good idea. It's worth giving it a try. What do you think, Claire?
Yeah, I think it would give a different texture to the look. So experiment, and if you don't like it, it's easy enough to rip out.
Yeah. And something like this where it's going to be hidden in the seam, it's not quite such a big deal anyway.
That's
Okay,
correct, we're seaming.
If we refer back to the pattern, so all this adjusting, my camera moved down really low, so I apologize for that. So we're going to continue working 2 single crochets in the first and last stitch until we have a total of 8 stitches. Once we have a total of 8 stitches, then we're going to change our work so that we're working 1 row even. So 1 row, we will not do any increases. And then the next row, we'll do an increase in the first and last stitch like we have been doing. So once you get to 8 stitches, so we'll count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. So once you have 8 stitches, we're going to start, we'll do 1 row where we only continue the same number of stitches, and then the next row will continue with our increases. And this changes the way that our heart is shaped, so it doesn't increase really fast. So the triangle part, the point, increases a little slower. And if you want to play with making it shaped a little different, you could try increasing on the front and the back and see how that's shaped. You could do every 3rd or 4th row. That's just gonna, it's kind of like a geometry exercise. You can decide how you want that triangle part or that point to be shaped. So 1 stitch in each stitch all the way across. chain up. And then one thing I like to do at this point, because sometimes it's hard to remember which side am I on? Like, am I on the side I'm doing increases or am I not? I will put a stitch marker on this side. So whenever I'm working on my work, if I put this down and come back to it in a couple of hours, I always know that when I have this stitch marker facing me, that means I am working on the side where I'm going to do increases. So that kind of helps you keep track of where you are. And so now, so this is the same thing we've been doing, where we do an increase in the first stitch. So an increase in the first stitch, we work all the way to the end and do an increase in the last stitch. So any questions about that and how we're going to progress with the pattern from there? We ready to move on to the next step?
Ooh. Hang on, Darren. We might have lost. Okay, there we go. We had a little hiccup with your camera feed there.
It's doing that for some reason.
Yes.
Show me some other screen. All right.
I just wanted to jump in here and remind people that thing number one, we are recording this class, so you'll be able to watch it again on michaels.com/classes. And if you've got questions, please just type them in the chat, and then I can either answer them if they're not directly related to the class, or I can forward them to Darren. And that way Darren can just keep on concentrating on teaching.
All right, so once we continue on with our work where we're increasing every other row, what we end up with is just a piece shaped like a large triangle. And once we get here, it wants us to continue increasing for about 12 inches from the beginning, ending with row 5. So we'll be ending with row 5 where we are just doing an even row where we're not increasing. Okay, and so the way we do that, you measure it from the point and you go up. And this piece I did a little extra. I went 14 inches. So I like to encourage people to go ahead and make your piece. You can change it and make it a little individual if you want. But according to the directions, you could have stopped here at 12, but I wanted to make one that was a little extra long and pointy. So I went a little longer. So I encourage people to do.
Sorry, Darren. Can you speak up just a little bit more?
So I encourage people to make it a little bit individual. This is your project. You can do it however you want. Sorry about the sound problems. Apologize for that. Okay, so now we're going to start on the lobe or the arch, which creates the heart shape. So let me demonstrate what we're going to do for that. I need to reattach my yarn because I broke my yarn when I was making the sample, but at this point you won't have to do that because you won't have to break your yarn. Okay. So for the first lobe, we will chain 1 to create your side edge. And then you work across halfway. So do a single crochet all the way across until it's halfway. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I don't want to waste your time making you watch me do 19 single crochets all the way across. So let's just pretend I worked halfway across. And we're going to start with our decreasing. So here we are at halfway. That's halfway, okay? And you'll chain 1 to create your side. Turn your work. So you're only working halfway across. Turn your work. And when we crochet 2 together to start our decrease, you enter 1 stitch, bring up a loop. I have 2 loops on my hook, and then you enter the next stitch, bring up a loop, and I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, and bring that through both, or I'm sorry, bring that through all 3. And what happens is you've taken these 2 stitches here, 1 and 2, and you've converted those into 1 stitch. So we've decreased by 1. So we're down 1. And then we work all the way across back to the beginning. So if you know how to crochet and you know a little bit about some of these increases and decreases already, this should be a fairly easy project for you. Okay. And I kind of messed that up at the beginning where I reattached my yarn, but you go through one, go through the other one, bring it through all 3 loops, and I'll demonstrate this again.
Erin.
Sorry, I'm off the edge. I see that.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, when I tried to rearrange my computer to make the sound better, everything shifted. Now I'm a little off kilter. So I'll try to keep track. Now the next row, we're going to just work across as established, so we won't be decreasing. So you're only decreasing every other row. So just pretend you just work all the way across, you chain up, and then you work on the other side where you'll be doing it. But I do want to show you that decrease a couple of times. So I'm not necessarily going to be following the pattern here. I want to show you the techniques. So to do a decrease, you enter the stitch, bring up a loop like you're going to do a normal single crochet. I have 2 loops on my hook, enter the next stitch, bring up a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull that through all 3. Okay, does that make sense? Do you want to have any questions about that? Enter the stitch, bring up a loop, enter the next stitch, bring up another loop, yarn over, and bring that through all 3. Not splitting your yarn as you go. All right, so if you don't have any questions about that, that's the 1 stitch decrease. So the only time you're going to be doing that is you do that at the beginning and at the end of each row. I'm sorry, of every other row. You don't, I did a couple here in a row just to demonstrate, but that's not what you would do when you're making the pillow. And what that is going to be making, and I have a finished one here, finished panel. So what that is doing is you are working across, you're going halfway across, and then you're doing your decreases, and then you do a decrease here, and then you go up, you work across, and then you keep decreasing, and as you see, it creates this heart shape of this lobe. And there is one on the other side, because that's how you make a heart. So after you continue working and you finish one side, you cut your yarn, and then you attach your yarn on the other half and do the exact same thing on the other side to create the 2 lobes. So you have to break your yarn, rejoin your yarn, and create the other lobe. All right, so I'm going to stop here for a minute and make sure that nobody has any questions. Do you want me to explain that again or demonstrate anything else? We're good, Claire?
I think we're looking good. Oh, Island Girl has a good point. Do you have a little place where you could just show how to reattach the yarn to start the second lobe?
Of course. Demonstrate that. Grab my sample piece. All right, so to reattach your yarn, All right, to reattach the yarn, very easy. Sometimes things like this seem like they're going to be hard, but just don't let them turn into a big complicated thing. So the way I like to do it is just kind of enter the stitch like you're going to do a stitch. So just that's the first stitch, right? And put your yarn over your hook. And now I've attached my yarn, and that's kind of like a chain. Like if you were going to chain up or work your side chain, that's kind of what that's like. So do your chain right there, and now you're right back where you started from. It's just like working the edge of any, like you've reattached it, now you're ready to go. It's just like normal. So if you wanted to do a single crochet, you just go in that first one and do your single crochet, and I'll show this again for you. Okay, so let's take it off. So there's my first stitch. Right here's my first stitch. I'm going to enter my fabric through that first stitch going under both strands of yarn. I'm going to bring up a loop. So just kind of loop that. See how I just loop that over my hook, kind of attach it there, and then do one chain. And then now you're ready to do whatever you need to do next. You could do a single crochet, or you can jump right into your single crochet 2 together. All right? Does that answer that question?
Yes, and I was just going to say that would work the same when you're attaching for the second lobe, because you'll start from the center, but it'll
Yes.
work exactly the same.
Oh, exactly. So if you wanted to start from the center somewhere, same thing. You enter the stitch that you want to start with, drape your yarn over, bring up a loop, kind of do your chain, give that height for the next row, and then you're ready to go with whatever is next. Okay, any other questions? That makes sense?
I think that's good, yeah. And just time check for you, we got about 15 minutes left.
All right. So moving on to the next bit. So after you finish that, and you've created both lobes, so here is one half, here is the other half. So I've done both of my lobes. I've broken my yarn. You want to make 2 of these identical, or as close as you can. That'll be the front and the back. And then creating the side bit for the gusset is also very easy. So if we refer back to the pattern, so for the side gusset, we're going to chain 8, and we're going to work single crochet in the second chain from the hook and all the way across. And we'll be working with 7 single crochet, and we'll continue working that until it's long enough to go all the way around the heart. So starting at the bottom point of the heart, up one side, around the lobe, down to the point, up around the next lobe, and then down around back to the very beginning. So if your gauge is a little different, your heart might be a little bigger or a little smaller, or if you've made it bigger or smaller on purpose, you can either measure how long that needs to be, or you can just keep crocheting and trying it out around it until you get to the right length. So you don't have to, I don't like to tell people exactly like what measurement something should be, because if yours is a little different, I don't want you to feel like it's wrong, because for a pillow, it doesn't matter if something's the exact right measurement. If you're making a garment where it has to be the exact measurement, that's a whole other situation. So if something like this, you can just kind of relax, be artistic, and have fun with it. Okay, so we're going to start with a slip knot with this. We're going to chain 8. And then in the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're going to be working with 7 stitches. And you just keep working. Just like normal. There's no increasing or decreasing in this one, so it's very easy. And it's nice that it's 7 stitches. You can just, if you're still learning and you sometimes add or subtract a stitch, this is a good way to practice to make sure you're not doing that. All right. And what you're going to end up with is a nice long piece of fabric like this. So you'll just continue on and until it's long enough to go around the entire outside of your heart. Okay. And that is going to be what creates the side of the heart. So that way, we're not just sewing the front and the back together, we're having this side gusset, which gives it a little extra thickness and a little bit extra shape. It helps with the shaping for it, I think. All right, any questions about how to create that? And then I'll show you how to seam it if we're ready to move on.
Give
Ready
me
to
a
move on?
chance to type here. I think so.
Okay. All right. Kind of got a tangled mess here. Let me untangle what I've worked on. Okay. So for seaming, one thing I recommend, and I do like these clips, and I think these are by Clover. If you clip your pieces together, then it's easier to kind of hold things as you're seaming it. So that crocheted fabric it's soft and it's stretchy. So it's easy for things to kind of, to stretch out of shape and to shift. So if you line everything up the way it needs to be, and you can clip it into place, you can use clips like these. You can use if you have a clip for a potato chip bag, or if you have clothespins or something, just kind of, I recommend clipping it into place, if at all possible.
If anybody wants to follow Darren's lead and get these little clips, I do believe they are available at Michael's. So, hey. Darren, you've accidentally muted your computer.
All right, well, that's not good. So this is a large-eyed blunt needle, so it just has a large enough eye to put yarn through and a blunt tip, because you're going between the strands of yarn, you're not piercing them. So you just want to thread that on your needle, thread your yarn onto the needle without splitting it if possible. Here's a tip that I like to do.
Darren, you muted yourself again.
I don't know how that's happening. I'm not even touching my computer. So take a piece of paper and wrap it around the end of your yarn. And then you can use that to pull it through if it's hard for you to thread the needle. That makes it a lot easier. All right. And then I'll show you 2 different ways of seaming. You want to make sure you're lining up the corner. So you get a nice corner. Here's the corner of my heart. And then here's the corner of my gusset. So just line those up nicely. Pull it through. And then leave a long enough tail for weaving in your end for finishing. And I like to do the running stitch. So just pick up 2 strands of yarn, through, And then I'm going to re-enter my fabric from the same side that I exited from. And this gives a nice seam. I'm also going to demonstrate the whip stitch. So I exited my fabric here, so I'm going to re-enter the fabric on the same side. And when you're seaming, you want to make sure you're spacing your stitches out the same space, and you're always going the same depth. You don't want to have your stitches going some really deep and some really shallow. Like you wouldn't want to go through here and then on this side, you know, go that far down. You want to try to keep them the same depth and space them out the same amount of space if possible. Now, if you're using the same yarn you made the pillow out of, your seam will really, even if it's not the best seam in the world, it'll still look pretty good. And if it doesn't look good, it's really easy to take it out and give it another try. So you don't have to have, you have to really be worried about it. And I'm seaming this with right sides together, and then you'll turn it inside out later. Now, if you'd rather do the whip stitch, so the running stitch is you exit the fabric on one side, you enter the same side you did the exit from, and you go back through. Now, the whip stitch, you would always enter the fabric from the same side. So you jump over the fabric, always enter it from the same side. And this is the whip stitch. The same thing you want to make sure of is that you're always entering the fabric, going the same depth down, and you want to try to space your stitches the same amount apart, as close as you can, to give yourself a nice, neat seam. And again, if you don't do a nice, neat seam and you're not happy with it, it's very easy to take the seam out and give it another try. You're not going to ruin your fabric. It's knitted fabric and crocheted fabric are very forgiving that way. Okay, any questions about the seam? You don't want to pull it real crazy tight because you don't want to distort your fabric, but you just want to pull a nice snug stitch.
We did have a couple questions about could you use a crochet seam or a slip stitch seam?
Absolutely. You can use any seam that you like. If you prefer a different type of seam, you can do any seam at all. That's one of the best things about a simple crochet project like this. You can like add your own and make it your own by changing it to something you like better. Anything else? Any other questions about how to finish the seam, or do you want me to show you how to weave in the ends? Do we need that?
I was gonna say we've got about 5 minutes left here, so if we can do, I think, a quick demonstration on the running stitch again.
The running stitch
and
again.
We'll see if we've got time to weave in our ends.
Okay. And if you do have questions about beginning techniques, Claire and I we did an introduction to crochet class last week, so that's available to rewatch. So the running stitch. So I came out this side of my fabric, and I'm going to enter the fabric the same side that I came out. So you're never taking it over top. It's always kind of sneaking under. All right, so I came out that side, and I'm going back through this side. I really like this one. I'm not sure why I like it. I just feel like it gives a neater look. Other people I've talked to say the exact opposite. They think the whip stitch gives a better look. And I say you should live your life and choose the one you like better, and that's how you can make your decisions. That's the best part. You can do whatever you want. I love that. Don't like to follow rules. And then again, you're not pulling it crazy tight. You see if you pull it too tight, how it kind of gathers it. If you feel like you're pulling it too tight every now and then, you can kind of massage it out a little bit to make sure you're not creating any puckers. Okay. Any questions? We do only have a few minutes left. I want to make sure if anyone has questions, I can answer them. I know there's a problem with the sound, so I apologize with that. So if I can help now by answering any questions that may have been missed.
Could you use a crochet hook for seaming or weaving in the ends after it's done?
Absolutely. I don't like using a crochet hook for weaving in my ends. I feel like it's not as easy to do, but again, that's what I like and don't like. So if you like weaving in with your crochet hook, then that's perfectly acceptable. So you can do kind of a slip stitch join. Oh, now my camera's deciding to slide around. So you just kind of go through both pieces of fabric and then join it. And the same rule, the same guideline kind of applies. You want to make sure you're spacing your stitches out the same distance and that you're going the same depth in the fabric. You wouldn't all of a sudden want to go down here. Like that's going to give you a crazy stitch from the front. You wouldn't want to make a big stitch here, so that's going to kind of give it a weird look from the front. You always want to make sure you're going the same depth as close as possible and spacing them out the same amount. That's the trick for a good seam. And then whatever seaming technique you decide to use will be fine. So there's endless number of ways to seam. So you can pick which one you like best. Anything else?
I was gonna say we have about 2 minutes left here. So real quickly, what would be your tips for stuffing and then closing up the pillow?
All right, so when you stuff it, you do turn, you sew the back together, you sew the seam all the way around 100%. When you're sewing the front piece on, you want to sew the seam around and you want to leave an opening of about 5 inches, 6 inches. And then you'll turn your piece inside out, or right side out, so that the right side is facing out. Stuff the pillow, and then just kind of sew it neatly together by hand. That last 5 or 6 inches. Let me show you how I would do that if we have time quickly.
Where would you leave the opening? Do you think it's better to leave it on top or at the point?
Well, when I seamed my pillow, I started at the bottom point of the heart. I would work all the way around until you almost get back to the bottom point and just leave about maybe 4 inches, maybe 3 inches, just depending on how much you need to bring that through. And then sewing it from the outside. This is how I like to do it when I'm sewing from the outside. So pretend like this is my outside seam. This is the last 4 or 5 inches that you're going to do. So I like to bring it here. So kind of go on from the inside out. And then here too, kind of go inside the seam out. And then pull it. So if we're doing the running stitch, we would enter from here. But I think this is called the inside out stitch. So you go on the inside of the seam here. And then you go on the inside of the opposite side of the seam. And I'll do a couple and then I'll pull it tight and kind of see what happens.
I was gonna say, do one and pull it tight, Darren. We're at 12:30 now.
Okay, here we go. So I'll just kind of pull that tight. You can see how it closes it up nicely. If you have any other questions, you can find me on Instagram, Mr. Woolly Bear on Instagram, and you can send me a direct message with questions and I'll try to get back to you. I know we kind of had some problems with sound and I don't want anyone to feel like they didn't get their questions answered. So maybe Claire will put it in the chat what my Instagram is. It's M-I-S-T-E-R spelled out Woolly Bear on Instagram. Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. And if you need to rewatch this, it was recorded and will be available at michaels.com/classes, probably tomorrow, possibly Monday. So hopefully we see you in some other classes later today, and happy I Love Yarn Day.
Bye, everyone.